Hey folks, welcome to Black Gumbo. Let's build a raised bed. Okay, so I have this master plan in my mind about what I want to do with my garden in terms of expanding my growing area. Now, I don't have a lot of room. I am essentially what you might just call a backyard gardener or a hobby gardener, and so my space is limited. But I want to add some space this year so I can grow some more varieties. I want to add two 2x12 raised beds in the traditional way, in which you use the wooden 2x10s or 2x12s. I'm going to do both of those. And you just screw them together, fill them with soil, and you're off. It couldn't really be easier. In fact, I don't have to do any cutting. All I have to do is drilling. I had the guy at the Home Depot do my cuts for me, simply because I don't want to get my saw out. The cuts are free. So I brought my boards in. You can't see them there because of the bad exposure, but let's get started. What I want to do is put a bed in right here on the side of my patio there, and it's going to be a 2-foot by 6-foot bed. And the reason I chose that size was I don't want it to come out too far, because we use this area. This is an important, right in here, this is an important little area for my dog to play, and well, I don't want to ruin her life. So we're gonna prepare the ground here, and I'll show you how to do that with my little grub hoe there. So this ground is just my St. Augustine grass. It's tough stuff, and we're gonna have to build right on top of this, and I'm just gonna leave it here. I'm gonna put cardboard down, and this will become part of my soil. I'm gonna try to level it out here because this is not a level area. So along the perimeter, I'm going to trench it out, and when we put our boards down here, we can measure and see if they're level. Doesn't have to be perfect. I don't really care if it's perfect. I just want enough that it doesn't look wonky. So you don't have to prepare all this ground in here. All you have to do is prepare where the sides of your bed are gonna lay. So you just take one of your boards and lay it in there and see if you got level. Yeah, we're level. Level as we need to be. I don't know if you can see that, but that's level. Now I'm using copper treated, pressure treated lumber. Copper is natural, it's found in the soil. I'm not really worried about it. Don't use arsenic treated or any of those other kind of treated lumbers. If you don't want to use treated lumber, use untreated lumber. That's up to you. I have no trouble with copper treated lumber. It'll last longer, and I'll get maybe 5 years out of this wood before I have to replace it. If I use untreated lumber, I'm going to get 2 years out of it before it starts falling apart, at least in my environment. Your mileage may be different, so that's up to you. I really don't worry about it. So yeah, so what we're going to do, this lumber, being that it's treated, is heavy and dense, and it is also difficult to drill in. I'm going to be using 3.5-inch wood screws. These wood screws are outdoor wood screws, Phillips head, and these will hold my pieces together. But I'm going to pre-drill my sides, and you're going to use a drill that is about the same diameter as the shaft of your threaded screw. So if your screw, you want a drill that's approximately not what the fullness of the threads are, but if you look in there, you can see in between the shaft of the screw. You want something that approximates that. Now you see, you can plan ahead. I noticed that there's a larger crack in the wood right here, and I don't want to put a drill hole or a screw through a crack, because that just that's going to let go over the years. So I'll just move my screw a little bit above that. And you just want to come in about halfway the width of the board. Now you want to do both ends of the board. I've cut my boards to, like I said, 6 feet long. These are my long sides, and whenever I assemble them, I will put the short sides in here, not out here, but in here. That's just the way I like it. You could do it the other way if you want, but this is the way I'm doing. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put my screws in there so that it's easier for me to assemble everything together. Just me. I don't have Sam with me today. He's out with his mom, so it's up to me today. Couldn't be easier. Always make sure you have the right kind of Phillips head. Not all Phillips head screwdrivers or driver heads are the same. You've got your sharp ones, you've got your flat ones, you've got your broad ones. Make sure that your Phillips head matches your screw. I'm going to take my second board. This is the part where you might need a hand, because I've got to do this way. And I just want to get it started. There we go. The beauty of using the screws is that you can take them out again if you need to. Let's see, what's a prettier side? There we go. There we go. You can see everything was level on the back side, but up here I've got a low spot here. So I'm just going to dig out some of my hard clay here, and I'm going to jam it up underneath this just to shore it up a bit. Okay, we've got that done. Now to fill it. I've gone and leveled everything out so that when I put my cardboard down, that's the next step, it can be closer in contact with the ground. Eventually it won't matter. But what I'm going to do is take a layer of cardboard and put it on the bottom to suppress weeds. Now some people put the cardboard down first and then place their wooden forms right on top of that. You can do that if you want. But with the amount of soil that's in here, you don't even have to put cardboard down if you don't want to. You can just put your soil in there, and 10 inches, 8 inches of soil will suppress your weeds and your grass that's growing down there just fine. You don't even have to worry about it. But then I'm going to take a page out of the Hügelkultur manual, and I'm going to, I don't know what they call it, but it's throwing logs and sticks and wood into the bottom of your garden and then putting your soil on top of that. And that, people say, well, that will tie up resources, won't it? While the bacteria work on that wood, they'll bind up, bind up nitrogen, and they'll bind up nutrients. Mostly that wood's going to break down via a fungal decomposition, cold compost process, and that's going to take a long time. But what it'll also do is retain moisture, and whatever bacterial action does down there to bind up resources, well, it's way down in the bottom. We're going to be putting a lot of nitrogen, a lot of rich soil, a lot of compost in here, so it doesn't really matter. But I want to bulk up my bed because I don't have soil on hand. I'd prefer not to buy it, but I may have to. But if you have to buy it, you don't want to fill, what is this, 2x6? You don't want to fill 12 cubic feet if you can get by with filling 6 cubic feet, because what you put in there on the bottom is going to become soil eventually. So what I'm going to try to do, I have a lot of pots, these pots that are sitting back here, and I have some on the side of my house that I've used. And the soil is just about depleted, and I'm going to refresh those pots with new soil when I plant again. So I'm going to take all that depleted soil and I'm going to put it in here. Then on top of that, I'm going to add a layer of compost, and that'll renew that soil or refresh it, and I won't let any of that go to waste. I always recycle my soil. Unless you have a plant disease or unless you have nematodes or some kind of a soil-bound disease, you can always recycle your soil. Now, there's a whole lot of people in this world that are going to tell you that you can't use this cardboard because it's covered in purple ink and stickers. Well, purple ink these days is basically soy-based, perfectly safe. Something like this, a little piece of plastic that I couldn't get off of there, I'm not going to worry about it. Sticker, they say, oh, you got to get all the sticky stickers off. Why? That's just glue down there. This will decompose, the worms will eat all that, and they'll love it. So I'm just going to put this in here, just like so. And it almost fits. Now if you have a shallow bed and you're not going to put a whole lot of soil in there, putting the cardboard down will help to suppress the weeds and the grass underneath. You can also use this brown packing paper, newspaper. I've used newspaper in the past, and it does just fine. What I'm going to do now is weigh this stuff down with some old wood. lay down your cardboard if you're not going to fill it right away. Now if I just fill this with soil and start planting on the top, you can plant anything in here. I don't think you'd go with deep root crops just yet. Let this break down a bit, but yeah, any of the things I'm going to plant in here, like tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, flowers, herbs, any of that stuff is perfect for this bed. All right, man, we got some more space. Leftover potting mix. Let's save you. Look at this beautiful guy hiding out in the potting mix. Here you go. All right. A lot of wood chips in this, so I'm going to put this one on the bottom. But down below, that's good soil. Ugh. That looks pretty. So here's the deal. This stuff's going to sit here through the rest of the winter and into the spring. All that time it's sitting here, all this leafy matter, the wood chips, all the depleted potting soil down in there, all the little bits of organic stuff that's in there, will have a chance to start breaking down a little bit. And so we won't have to worry so much about, you know, trying to grow in hot compost that's not quite broken down. It'll be a little more aged by then. But that's as far as I'm going to go until I can get some good soil. I'm going to get some good garden mix and lay it on top of here, and that'll give us a nice growing bed this coming spring. There we go. That's how you put in a raised bed. I now have a brand new raised bed. It's only 2 by 6, but hey, that's 12 square feet more than I had before. So this will house 3, maybe 4, maybe 5, maybe 6 micro tomatoes, dwarf tomatoes this year, maybe some peppers. I have to check my plan. But that's how easy it is. You just you know, kind of wing it actually. If you're trying to use up the stuff you have on site. What's in here now I can grow in. Probably in the spring I'd wait, but I can grow in that, and it'll give me nice fertile soil. I'm going to top it off all the way to the top with soil that's ready to grow in, but I'll do that later. But there it is. That's how you make a raised bed. Real easy, real simple. Let's talk about other options that might affect you. If you're growing with shorter boards, these are 12 inches. If you're growing with, say, a 2 by 6, you might want to put in there your cardboard down and put in good soil right away, because you want at least 6 inches of growing medium for your shallow rooted annual crops. If you have moles or digging rodents, you might want to line the bottom where you place your boards down with some hardware cloth or some chicken wire. Chicken wire is going to rot away before you know it, but you know, a 1/2 inch square hardware cloth is going to exclude any kind of digging rodent. If you have the problem with those kinds of animals, put that down first before you put your cardboard down, or you can even nail it to the wood, or you know, staple it to the wood, and that will exclude all your digging animals. The only problem there is if you have deep root crops, they're not going to be able to go effectively through that very well. Or if, like carrots, they'll go through, they'll send the taproot down, but then they'll grow around that wire, and you'll snap it off when you pull it up. But hey, if you got digging rodents, moles, voles, and all that kind of stuff, then you're going to need to do that. Thanks for joining us today on Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. Please subscribe to our channel, share our videos if you would. That's really helpful for us. Leave a comment. We like to talk to you guys in comments. Like us on Facebook and Instagram, and we will see you next time, probably with another question and answer episode. So y'all have happy gardening. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.